Now let's talk about table-driven pattern. Now for table-driven pattern, we have a set of prerequisites. Well, the first prerequisite is the body which you want to pattern, or the feature which you want to pattern. You should just create it first. And in this case, I've created this sphere and I just want to pattern it. Well, the second thing is the table. Now I have created a table using Notepad, and that table is right here. So I have this table pattern, and if you just open this one, you'll notice that this table has two columns. The first column is X coordinate value, second column is Y coordinate value, and both of these columns are separated by just one single space character. So we have got 1 space 5, 23 space 8, 12 space 12, and so on. Now the third requirement is the coordinate system. You need to use a coordinate system which this text file table will use. So we have a default coordinate system, but that's not what we are going to use. So let's go to reference geometry, coordinate system, and let's create one. Now for creating the coordinate system, we need a point for origin and X and Y axes. Now I've already created X and Y axis lines. So I've created these lines as references, and then of course I have the endpoint of these lines as the origin. So that's what I'm going to select. So I'll select this point as the origin. And now for X axis, I'll select this line, and for Y axis, I'll select this line, and I've got the coordinate system. Now, if you want to reverse the direction of X axis, just click here. If you want to reverse Y, that's here. And if not, just click OK. And here we have the coordinate system 1, which is now created and added in this table. Alright, so that's added. Now we are ready to create the table-driven pattern. So let's go to this option and select table-driven pattern. Now the first requirement is the file, the table. So click on browse, locate the table, which happens to be on desktop. So I'll just select desktop, and we just need to change the table format. So right now the pattern table is selected here. So that's not the format in which I've created the table. So I'll just select txt file. That's the format in which I have the table, and I'll select this table pattern and open. Now all the coordinate values from that table will just show up here. So we now have 7 rows, and as you can see, we just have 7 rows here. So SolidWorks will create 7 new copies, including one for this main object. So in the end, we'll end up with just 8 copies. So one main object and then 7 copies. So that's what we are going to get. Now this object is exactly on origin. This point, the centroid of this sphere, is exactly at 0, 0, because that's where we added the coordinate system. Now, if you want to use the same point as the reference for all the other copies, then just choose centroid here, because in this case the center of this sphere is also the centroid, and if you select centroid, then all the spherical copies will have their centers exactly on these coordinate points. If however you have created a geometry where you have sharp edges or features where you can just select point, then you can also select this option, select point, and specify a point on that feature or on that body, and then SolidWorks will use that point as the coordinate reference. So the first point will be exactly there, so 0, 0 will be that one if you already have the origin there, of course, and then all the other points will be exactly at your selected point. Now in this case, I just want to use centroid, so I'll select centroid so that all of these points are exactly at the center of the circle. Alright, then we have the coordinate system option. So I'll select coordinate system 1, and then bodies to copy. Well, this is the body which I want to copy. You can of course select a feature or faces if you have that. So in this case, I have the feature, but I don't want to use it. I just want to use body. But if you want to, you can select these options. Alright, so with that, we now have a table here. So in this case, you can also select the full preview or partial preview to see the preview, and to just finish this, click OK. And in this case, I just forgot to kind of move it back to body, so I'll just go to bodies and just click OK again. All right, and here we have it. So we have all of these 7 features created. Now these are very tiny, so you can see all of these 7 bodies are now created. So let's just increase the size of this sphere, and I'll do that using this revolve feature. So I'll go to this sketch 1 under revolve, edit this, and as you can see, the dia is kind of small, so it's 0.2. Let's make it 5 and click OK. There we are. So with that, exit sketch, and now they are kind of big. You can just clearly see these spheres. So that's our table-driven pattern. Now, even after making the table, if you want to modify it, then you can do it from here. So go to table pattern, select the edit feature, and here you can just modify the coordinates. So once the coordinates are added in your drawing, you can of course make changes here. So for example, in this case, I'll just change this second coordinate value, the y coordinate value, which is 8, and I'll just make it maybe 18 instead of 8. Alright, with that, just click OK and it will update it right here. Not only that, you can also modify it using these dimensions. So once you select the table pattern, all the dimensions will just highlight kind of like this, and now you can make changes right here using these references. So maybe for example here I have this 3 unit dimension. I'll double click here and I'll change it to 6. Alright, now I'll click on rebuild, and there you can see the changes. So it will automatically just change the distance. And of course, this change is also added in the feature tree. So here also, if you just go to the table, it will just show the updated information. So maybe we'll just change this one as well. It's kind of very close to this one. So I'll just select this sphere, and we need to change this dimension. So I'll just double click and let's just make it 6, and okay. And there we are. So that's how you can create and modify table driven pattern.